into a pit of infinite torches.
Hello everyone, welcome to another video. In this video I would like to show you my Manastorm cast on crit Shock Nova Hierophant. I will quickly go over how the build works during this map run, and after that I will talk about the gear. The build has over 9k effective life, incredible clear speed, and it also has pretty solid single target damage as well. You can also start the build with fairly low investment. The build revolves around using the new Manastorm shield. Whenever you cast a spell, this shield will sacrifice all your mana and give you added lightning damage equal to 25% of the mana sacrificed. It would be very hard to sustain mana by self-casting, so I decided to go for a cast on crit build, since cast on crit counts as triggering spells and it won't sacrifice your mana all the time. And to make use of the shield, I am using Vortex, which is an instant cast spell that you can use every 4 seconds to get the bonus from the shield. The Vortex is also socketed in a Malachite's Artifice ring, which makes it so that our Vortex has elemental equilibrium. You might think that the added lightning damage from the shield will mess elemental equilibrium up, but the way it works is that the hit will apply first, and then you will get the added bonus damage. So this makes it so that your Vortex will trigger Manastorm and also apply elemental equilibrium to enemies, which is an insane damage boost. The added damage from the shield will last for 4 seconds, and the elemental equilibrium will last 5 seconds, so you can pretty much have 100% uptime on your EE and also benefit from the shield. This creates an engaging and rewarding gameplay, and at the end of the day, this is something that you'll only think about when fighting bosses, since general map clear is very easy, even without the bonus from the shield. Okay, there's a lot of things to mention with here. I'll do my best to be as quickly as possible. Using a Manastorm, of course, it makes it so that when you cast a spell, you will sacrifice all your mana to gain added maximum lightning damage equal to 25% of sacrificed mana for 4 seconds. Since we have like 5k unreserved mana, whenever you do use a spell, this will basically double the damage of your Shock Nova, which is amazing. I'm also using a Malachite's Artifice. It makes it so that socketed gems have elemental equilibrium, and I'm using a Vortex here, since Vortex is like an instant cast that you can use while you're cycloning. The Vortex will A, trigger the shield, like give you added lightning damage, and B, it will also apply elemental equilibrium to enemies, which will reduce their resistances by 50%, which is like an insane amount of damage boost. One really important thing to keep in mind here is that you don't want any lightning damage on your Vortex, because that will mess up your elemental equilibrium. Like, you don't want to use things like Wrath or maybe get lightning damage to spells on your weapons. The added lightning damage from the shield won't mess this up because the hit will apply first. When you hit a monster with Vortex, it will apply elemental equilibrium and then you will gain the added lightning damage. So this won't mess it up. The elemental equilibrium lasts for 5 seconds and the added lightning damage from the shield lasts for 4 seconds. So if you pay some attention, you can pretty much have 100% uptime on your elemental equilibrium and also gain the benefits from the shield. For your other ring, I'm using an Essence Form. It makes it so that socketed gems reserve no mana, and then you can put your aura in here. This is like a nice item for mind over matter builds. I decided to go with Lore Weave because, as you can see, it gives a lot of amazing stuff for this build. If you can't afford this, you can go for a Skin of Loyal, and if you also want, you can go for like an Impulsas. At the end of the day, this is probably your best bet though, so keep that in mind. For your belt, you want at least 14% increased cooldown recovery speed. This will reduce the internal cooldown of your cast on crit and allow you to cast 7 times per second as opposed to 6, so it will give you a nice little damage boost. On top of that, what you're looking for is life, mana, and resistance if you can afford it. Also keep in mind that when you're looking for rare items, you can look for non-crafted items with open prefix so that you can craft the mana yourself. That might be like easier and cheaper to find. For your helmet, I would recommend that you craft it yourself. You can craft it by buying a high item level energy shield base, preferably with Shock Nova damage enchant, and then use metallic fossils. The metallic fossils will give you that nearby enemies have minus lightning resistance mod, and on top of that, what you're looking for is like life, resistances, mana, and then accuracy would be amazing if you can get it. Build needs a lot of accuracy from gear. Gloves, once again, craft it yourself by using Essence of Insanity. The Essence of Insanity will give you that first mod. Socketed gems have 16% more attack and cast speed, and then you can put your shield charge in here, which will make your shield charge feel super smooth. For your weapon, you want like at least 50% lightning spell damage, 80% crit chance for spells, some mana. And if you can get an open suffix, you can also craft that last mod, chance to deal double damage while focused. This will grant you a skill called Focus, and then you can use this for like bursting down map busts and Manamorphs. Also, I won't go too much into detail, but when you're playing cast on crit with Cyclone, given that you have the cooldown recovery speed from the belt, there are some breakpoints that you want to aim for in terms of attacks per second. What you want is Basically, what you want is when you're fully buffed, you have your Mana Flask, your Onslaught. You want to be as close to 7.5 attacks per second, but you don't want to go over it, so keep that in mind as well. For your Amulet, you want some life, crit multi, accuracy, mana, and maybe resistances if you can afford it. And finally, for your bolt, you want some life, mana, movement speed, and then resistances. So that's all the gear. Okay, so for flasks, using a Divine Life Flask of Staunching for the bleed removal, Enduring Divine Mana Flask of Draining because it gives you like some spell damage released as an energy shield, which is super nice. If you have some like problems capping your resistances, you can also use this. Since mana flasks are like incredibly easy to have 100% uptime on, you can also rely on this to like cap your resistances. This is always your go-to. Cinder Swallow is super nice because it gives you a lot of recovery, crit chance. And if you manage to get some added fire damage on your rings, amulet, weapon maybe, you can also ignite enemies and benefit from that second mod. And finally, using a Diamond Flask of Warding for the curse removal. That's all the flasks. Okay, so for gems, we are linking our Shock Nova with Cyclone and Cast on Crit, obviously. Inspiration is super nice because your Cyclone will have like 1 mana cost, and you can pretty much have 100% uptime on your Inspiration charges. Increased critical strikes is also a must for this build. And then finally, for bosses, you can use like Conk Effect. And then for general map clear, we can use increased critical damage. We have the shield charge set up in our gloves. Shield charge, faster attacks, fortify, and then calling strike. We have an Orb of Storm set up in our boots. Orb of Storms, power charge on crit, curse on hit, and then conductivity. I'm using cast 1 damage taken, wave of conviction to further reduce enemies' resistances. And then precision gives you a lot of crit chance and accuracy, which is like super nice for this build. Tempest shield, increased duration, and then energy leech in here. Summon Ice Golem links with minion life so that it doesn't die all the time. And then finally, Val Righteous Fire with like increased duration so that you can burst down like bosses. As I said earlier, Vortex in our Malachite's Artifice, and then Zealotry in our Essence form. You don't want to use Wrath here because that will mess up your elemental equilibrium, as I mentioned earlier. So that's all the gems. Okay, so for passive tree, we are playing Hierophant. Hierophant is super nice because you get Arcane Surge on hit, Elemental Ailment Immunity, a lot of mana, Energy Shield, Area of Effect, and a lot of damage in general. So it's like a super nice ascendancy for this character. We are using Mind Over Matter, of course. When you're looking for jewels, you want to look for as much crit multi as possible. And then you can get things like spell damage and area damage. Please check the description for setup filters. PoE.trade links with setup filters for jewels. Other than that, I will let you take a look at the passive tree. I will also put Path of Building link in the description. Stuff like Mind Drinker are insane for mana recovery because it says attack damage leached as mana. And whenever you do use a spell, the added lightning damage gained from your shield will also scale your Cyclone as well. So this gives you a lot of recovery. If you are struggling to cap your accuracy, you can also get this, drop some life and get this. This will help you out quite a bit. Anointment options, Heart of Thunder is like your best bet for damage. If you want some quality of life, you can go for Druidic Rite. And if you are struggling to cap your accuracy and resistances, you can also go for like Weathered Hunter. Depends on like what you need. So I guess that's it about the passive tree. Pantheon's upgraded version of Soul of Shikari gives you like immune to poison. And then this is up to you. I will leave this up to you. I guess that's it about the build. Let me know if I've missed anything. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And if you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. I would really appreciate that. Finally, before I leave, I stream on twitch.tv/urbaurgle. So if you want to just come chill with me, ask me some questions, whatever, feel free to do that as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have an awesome day, and I'll see you in the next one.